guys, there keeps being more skills. I keep talking about funky dueling skills, but no matter how many I talk about, there keeps being more. How many even are there? Holy! Like always, we're going to talk about the most gut-wrenching, brain-blending, Duel Link skill effects that will make your non-Duel friends say,
"Yeah, they say madness runs in our family."
Subscribe if you like the content, because I'm just trying to hit 10k. I think that would be kinda cool. Now, let's start with some wonky effects with controlling draws. There's a number of skills that let you change the card you draw during your draw phase. This ranges from all the draw sense skills, which are among some of the oldest skills in the game, where after losing some arbitrary amount of life points, you're allowed to use your precognitive, cheating, abilities to suck a card out of your deck that meets certain specifications, like low level, wind monster, machine monster, dice monster, and apparently rank up magic spell. Controlling draws also technically covers as far as Yuma's Zexal weapon skill, which lets you look at the top card of your deck and then decide if you want to change it to any Zexal weapon of your choosing. This is not once per duel, so if, for whatever reason, you want to turn your entire deck into Fenrir Sword, knock yourself out. However, the most infamous draw control skill, which any Duel Links player should know, is of course Destiny Draw, which channels Yugi's inner anime main character BS, and after losing 2,000 life points, lets you draw any card in your deck. Now this skill, along with the other draw sense skills, has an extra layer of BS purely because of how they're written. Now most skills today will say something like, if your life points are below a certain threshold, use the skill. However, these all say if your life points decrease by a certain threshold, which means you can still activate them even if you gain those life points back after activating the skill. And so, when we got Battling Boxer Veil, a card that any non-Duel Links player has never heard of, and any Duel Links player still has fear pangs from it while direct attacking, players were using our favorite Stalling Boxer to commit disgusting OTK strategies. For example, Lunalights, where they would just pass turn 1, let you do 2k damage to them, gain it all back with Veil, de-draw into whatever they needed, and insta-kill you the following turn. They've never actually changed how this skill works. You can still do this today, but it should be very telling how much the game has evolved, because nobody plays like this anymore. Now, if controlling your draws sounds crazy, did you know you can actually change your opponent's draws? Kind of. Teacherly Discipline is a skill owned by Velian Crowler, PhD, who is of course voiced by Goku! Fun fact, Sean Schemmel voices a number of characters on the show, including This is a skill that, after losing 1500 life points, you can pick a card type, and one of those cards will get chosen at random from their deck and placed at the top, remaining a mystery to all. This skill has never seen the light of day, and hopefully it may never, because it's not once per duel, so there may be some awful way to lock your opponent into drawing the same card over and over. Marrying monsters. Not Game Gamer in the comments from one of the videos reminded me of Blair Flanagan's Happily Ever After skill. Now, Blair has a bunch of maiden in love skills to symbolize both her favorite archetype and her unhealthy obsession with Jade and Yuki.
I love you, Jade and Sweetie!
But she has one skill that just straight up says it weds two monsters together. What does that look like?
That was a bit anticlimactic.
Changing attack. There's a good amount of skills in this game that manipulate a monster's attack on the field, usually increasing it. And most of them are bad, like 200 attack for level 2 or lower monsters. Wow, thanks Konami. In my opinion, the worst one is probably Attack Burst, which lets you increase one monster's attack by 500, but only until your third turn? And then the monster's attack becomes 0 after? And it's hit Cog before? Why is it even so bad? It's not power creep. This skill came out after skills like Beatdown that are just objectively better and have been here since 2016. Now, there's not just bad attack skills, there's also interesting attack skills that are also kinda bad. Skills like Attack Charge, which has gains that scale based on the turn count.
I have been falling for 30 minutes!
Yes, super useful in modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! Where we have long drawn out duels that aren't just done in 4 turns. There's the dice one that increases attack by a dice amount, yeah, a whopping 50 attack per number, And then there's the most bananas one, in my opinion, which is Sarah's 8800 Pulse, which gives a level 4 monster with matching attack and defense, you guessed it, 8800 attack, with the caveat that it stops your opponent from taking damage that turn. However, this does enable the US-TK strategy of one-time passcode, Mystic Walk, trading places, and self-destruct button to force duels into a draw. Gamba Skills. There's a good deal of skills that have some element of Gamba to them. For example, there's some skills that roll a dice, like we mentioned earlier, and give you some effect depending on what the number is. There's a bunch of skills that straight up manipulate probability, like Cheater's Coin, Luck on Your Side, and Master of Destiny, which I won't go too much into as I already have a few videos on those, though they are getting a little old. Time Roulette Go is basically Time Wizard's anime effect as a skill, but the funniest one, in my opinion, is definitely Axel Brody's final mission. The Gamba here is that if you're not at 1k life points or lower, it's up to fate whether the skill works or not, and if not, it's once per duel. So that's just it. Life Point Boost. Now, this is one of those skill archetypes that Konami made that just got dumber over time. We initially had Life Point Boost Alpha, which is a skill that lets you start with an extra 1000 life points. Probably doesn't sound too useful in the grand scheme of things, but 1000 life points in early Duel Links was a difference between an OTK and living an extra turn. And most importantly, if you were playing Arrow Mages, starting with more life than your opponent gave you an immediate advantage. Then, we also had Life Point Boost Beta, which gives you 1500 life points, but obviously they couldn't just give you that extra 500 for free, so they made you give up one card in your starting hand. You can probably see where this is going. And since then, every now and then Konami came out with another life point skill with slightly more life points and slightly less cards in hand, with Gamma making you give up 2 cards, Delta making you give up 3, and finally the Big Daddy, Life Point Boost Omega, which gives you 5000 extra life points, but makes you give up your entire hand, which is obviously completely useless, but super funny.
What did it cost?
Everything.
Nowadays, if you want more life points, there's better versions of all of these that are extra deck type specific, so just use those instead. And that's it. Today we had a lot of older skills, which is actually kind of nice because a lot of older skills were written by folks with no clue where Duel Links would be in the year 2025. I hope you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you like it, and I'll see you guys next time.